Alright, so we have an update on the shell for the Jeep 60. Uh, After cooling down and um, look, trying to determine an action plan, and also watching a couple of auctions on eBay, since I've gotten no responses in the Facebook groups um, that are specific to Athern. If anyone had a spare um, Jeep 60 shell in EMD demonstrator livery, um, I took another look at the shell, and long story short, I took some super glue gel and I glued the piece that broke off back on. It isn't perfect. Maybe you could see the hairline crack right over here and over here. Um, and I used accelerant, for lack of better words, super glue accelerant to help with the drying process. Once that was done, I I painted it, and believe me, I went through so many shades of blue. Can you see it, guys, or is it a little bit too bright? Hold on a second. No, that didn't work. There we are. So, I went through so many shades of blue that I found the match, and it was. Hold on a second. Sorry. It was Apple Barrel Electric Blue. And lo and behold, it was a match. So I didn't thin it down. I just took a brush, applied it wherever it needed it, and then I took white, and it's as good as new, but not really new. But who knew? Um, I did lose the lenses for the long hood end, so I went through all my parts and I used the headlight lenses that would ordinarily be used on an Athearn H2466 Trailmaster. So I mean, it's not perfect. As for the tabs on the shell, they are gone. So even though even though it is a good fit, given the accident, it will fit over the shell, but I can't hold the locomotive by the shell, otherwise it'll come right off. So anytime I'll have to pick up or put down um, the locomotive, it'll have to be by the fuel tank. But it is what it is, folks. Uh, I saved the shell. Wasn't absolutely perfect, but it sure as heck beats having to spend the additional money to replace the shell. And if I didn't want to go the route of a Jeep 60 shell, what would also work would be a Jeep, and this is from the Facebook groups, a a GP50, a Jeep 40-2, and a Jeep 38-2. So if I didn't want to go the route of a Jeep 60, I could always go those alternate routes, but shells cost money. And it's not so much as the money for the amount of money that you'd have to pay for the shell itself. It's the shipping. Don't get me started. So, the next step would be to solder bulbs onto the frame, and then once I test the bulbs, I am going to hot glue them to each end of the shell. So, we'll be right back. Alright, so here we are on the Endurance main line. Got everything back into the shell, put this thing back on, and got the power pack on, and let's see what she's like moving forward. And just gonna close up in here just a wee bit. And we've got lights on in forward, and backwards, reverse. Maybe you didn't see it. Hold on a second. Hold on a moment. Should we turn off the light? No. So we've got lights. Now, I know it sounds a little bit raspy, but what do you expect from a motor inside a pretty crammed shell? Athearn locomotives, pardon me, Athearn locomotives may be the Timex watches of model railroad locomotives, particularly the blue boxes, and I guess you could say the ready to runs as well. But they are not exactly prototypical. I mean, sometimes it's just a cookie cutter design. So I'm going to open her up so that she can stretch her legs. Eventually that noise goes away. And as far as current draw goes, so even though the throttle is set to 60, it could be set lower. The current draw is still impressive. So I'm glad we got this girl running and with headlights. So I'm just going to let this girl run a couple of more circuits. Wait for her to come around. and then we'll hook a consist up to her. See how well she pulls. Be right back. Actually, you know what? Let's hold that thought for a second. Let's see what this big girl does. Now, the box and the paperwork were somewhat vague as to its DCC, or rather, if it had DCC on board or not. So, this is on the main line that I normally use for programming or to see to see what's going on, to read the CV and all that good stuff. So this is the DCCEX main line is set for DCC. So I am going to switch on the main line and moment of truth. You hear that? Yeah, this is it's not DCC on board. This is a DCC ready, and it is DC powered. So, let's change main lines. Be right back. All right, we're on the DC main line, the Endurance main line. So, power pack is still on in the forward direction. Give her a little juice. And wow, look at that. 35% throttle. Really smooth. So now let's bring her back. And we're at 30% throttle. Elegant. So let's see how she is with the circuit doing a lap. 25, 30%. Let's go 40. Beautiful. So we're at 40% throttle. Look at the current and the voltage. Holy cow. Glass smooth. And here she comes, completing her first lap. Beautiful. So we're going to let her run for a little while longer, get her sillies out, and then we'll hook her up to a consist. Be right back.